Welcome back, everyone. I'm Alfred Lamont Weber, and I'm here with Marin Bejan. Welcome, Marin.
Alfred, how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm very happy to be here with you in the Jesus Meetup. And tell me, what are we meeting about today?
Okay, so we're going to do a quick recap of last week, which was the introduction. And that was week 30 in the Jesus Meetups. And then we're going to move on to week 31 and some pretty powerful, pretty exciting information spiritually for everybody. So you want me to recap real quick what we did last week?
Yeah, please go.
Okay, great. So we started last week talking about we have problems on our world. And then in light of those problems, we are trying to find solutions. And so our greatest problem has been that by and large, we on our planet have not really known what Jesus actually said. It's been held from us. And so the solution, the most powerful solution that we have is when we discover together actually what Jesus did say and discover who he says we really are and what our potentials are for getting involved with these planetary solutions that we desperately need. So we discussed last week this moment that Jesus had with his group, and Peter had stood up and had said, we believe that you are the Son of the living God. Jesus was like, whoa, okay, so my Father obviously is the one who has revealed this to you. Jesus went on to make this very important speech where he talked about the human fraternity of the divine spirit. He talked about that once this human fraternity of the divine spirit comes together, that we will then be able to stand up against these forces of evil and these hosts of sin, sin being anything that is in opposition to the reality of our Paradise Father, our great source and center, okay? That we will be able to stand up against these forces. And he said, I now, based upon this truth, that you claim that I am the Son of the living God, I am now going to deliver into your hands these keys to the kingdom, which Jesus said will affect things temporal. And then he split it down into two categories within the temporal, those things social, which are all about our friends, and those things economic, which is all about anything that's goods and services on the planet. And we all can tell that is all so screwed up right now. So then he went on and he said, with these keys, I am giving to you authorization. I am authorizing you with these keys to the kingdom that you will prevail over this outward kingdom that has these forces of darkness and sin coming against it. Okay, that's what we talked about last week. We ended up by saying and recognizing that Gabriel, who is the firstborn of our local universe, Gabriel is at the courts right now in Uversa prosecuting this Luciferian, satanic, Caligastian, it's a manifesto. It is a plan for them to gain power and for us to lose. And Gabriel is, here's the quote, he is praying for their destruction. So in light of that, we feel, well, for Gabriel, then we're going to stand with Gabriel in that as well, because our world needs to heal. So now let's just be sure we understand these areas of social and economic that Jesus is talking about in this temporal realm coming off of our planet. We're talking about our planet. no other rebels, no other, off-worlders and aliens, they can't come onto our planet and claim it as their own. They have their planets. Those are their planets. And we should not be just running over into somebody else's backyard and saying, oh, I'm going to set up camp here. No, that's not our planet. This is not their planet. And so Jesus is giving us keys to this kingdom on this world that we are tuned to. Does that make sense, Alfred?
Yes, it does. Now, I have a key question.
Okay.
For the audience that may be tuning in for the first time, where are you getting all of this information from? And why is it so special? Boom.
Well, it's our beloved book, Alfred. It's the Urantia book, which my dear husband gave a byline to the Urantia book, and it is Journey to the Father. So this book, you so beautifully explained it last week, Alfred, where you said you read it backwards, from part 4 to part 1. And it's so beautiful because this book starts out explaining to us about paradise and Havona and where our great source and center, our personality of the Paradise Father. It begins there, takes us to the Trinity and the differentials that God creates, the differentials coming all the way down through the central super universe, all the way down through all the 7 super universes, the master grand universe, all the way down into our local universe where we have our Christ Michael, who is our master and sovereign, all the way down to our little planet 606, which is just about as far as anybody can get from paradise. And so this book gives us the roadmap to where we fit in cosmically, celestially. It gives us, it's a how-to book. Now get ready, folks. It's a how-to book for us to know how to make direct personal contact with our indwelling Paradise Father, making contact with God.
Right. And so basically, the Urantia book is a 2,000 and plus 2,072 page interdimensional channeling an emergency revelation that was sent interdimensionally to this planet and was published in 1955.
Yes. Now that word channeling there's different definitions for that word. Some people might take issue that the Urantia book was actually channeled because it was a very unique way that it came to us, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It came to us and it had to come through a human mind, because these super high beings that were coming to us, they had to work through a human mind because we're relatively low, friends, and it's okay. We're dearly loved, but they had to do it this special kind of way. Would you agree, Albert? It's fine if you don't.
No, right. And I'm just giving a context for what it was. And so that 2,000 years ago, the Paradise creator is actually a male-female creator, but it's incarnated here as Jesus, Joshua ben Joseph. In some languages, it's Joshua.
Right.
Jesus. And the last quarter of the book is kind of the life of Jesus on Universe Television. That's how I say it.
Yeah, and guys, I mean, if you haven't read it, you don't miss out. Just don't miss out. It's a life changer.
Yeah. And then now, 2,000 years later, in 1955, the situation has gotten so
crazy.
In the middle of the Eisenhower administration.
Yes.
Nuclear confrontation.
Yes.
they authorized and released an emergency revelation. And that emergency revelation now, there have been about 1 million copies sold, and it's in multiple languages. And so that's what we are communicating about here. I just looked up today, and there are about 760 books on Amazon that have been written and published about the Urantia book.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, so that tells everybody.
Yeah, now there have been 50,000, between about 45,000 books written that are on Amazon about the second coming of Jesus. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I surely can. Yeah, yeah.
But this is like the latest word on what really happened with the coming of Jesus, because one probable version is that what they call the synoptic gospels, which are the gospels of Matthew, all the New Testament gospels, those were commissioned by the Roman emperor, were written by Flavius Josephus, who was the leading Jewish propagandist of the age. So it's kind of disinformation.
Yeah.
This is not really what went down. So this is what went down. And in the 2,000 pages, the last part is the life of Jesus. And that's about the last 500 pages.
Yeah.
First 300 pages, the first 3/4, about 1,500 pages, is how reality is structured.
Right.
Very advanced.
Right.
That's where you got the introduction from.
Yes. And so because it's been 2,000 plus years since Jesus actually spoke the truth, okay, we've had all this time to be really confused. And what we got to do, we got to get back to where Jesus left off. Okay. Now, right. When he ascended, before he left, he told everybody, look, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm not going to leave you frightened and so sad. When I go to be with the Father, I'm going to send you my Spirit, called the Spirit of Truth. This will be the Comforter. Okay. So Jesus poured out his Spirit onto all flesh on the day of Pentecost, 40 days after he ascended. So Jesus is here now in spirit. That was his second coming. He told everybody, guys, right now you see me in flesh. I'm not in my glory right now. Okay. When you see me again, you'll see me in spirit, those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. So sorry, Christians. Okay. We're not waiting for some anticipated second coming. He's already come. He's here in the spirit. He actually lives inside your mind and your soul, along with our Paradise Father, who lives inside your mind and your soul. And it makes sense because they're the same. Jesus is the material expression of the Father, right? So we don't comprehend it like this, but when all of you begin to get this and you pursue him and you find him and you get him because he's waiting for you, you guys, you're going to realize who you are. You're going to realize the personality powers you have, the spirit luminosity you have, the spiritual powers you have. We're off on a tangent here, Alfred, but there's just so much to talk about with this whole topic. It's hard to stay focused, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Now, do you want to, we can share screen and go to this number 31.
Yeah, why don't you do that? And I'm going to go ahead and move forward while you're doing that. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
All right, great. Okay, so friends, now, okay, we have all, the last 2 years have just been horrible. We are all terrified of what we're seeing, not only we're in the States, but all the other countries.
Yeah, now don't use any of the nasty words that are going to knock us off of our channels.
I shall not, even though we do at home privately.
Don't use those, because otherwise we won't be able to go onto
I'll be good.
my video channels. Okay.
Okay, I'll be good. So here we are, though. We're all going through quite a terrible, terrible time. We're despairing. We've been terrorized. We are afraid. Many of us are depressed, and we're all trying to find, where's the hope? Where's the comfort? I feel like there is no hope. But friends, yes, we do have hope. We just haven't known how to connect with God within us. And that's what God discovered, and the Jesus Meetup is all about. So here's what I want you to know. And I'm not going to read you these long passages, okay? I'm just going to paraphrase everything. Each one of us are like a circuit inside a casing, okay? We have this spirit luminosity that God has created us with. And he's inside there with his spiritual personality, his father fragment. They're called thought adjusters. And as a circuit inside this avatar, that's this casing, okay, our bodies are not really us, it's a machine, okay? But this spiritual luminosity, the circuit inside of us, is who we really are, okay? Now this circuit that we are, as God created us, a circuit is like a pathway. It's like a route for energy to flow, okay? And so the fact of the matter is, we live on this little planet numbered 606, but we are connected to paradise right now. I'm going to tell you how. Your personality, which makes you you, came from paradise. The Father created your personality, and somehow how he does it all, okay, you were born on this planet. Because he loves you so much, in paradise, the Father sends out on his personality circuit, it's a spiritual circuit, he sends out these, it's like a vine, and it's like these tendrils of God, and he sends them out, and they literally stood in line and chose you. Your thought adjuster, that's this fragment of God, chose you and incarcerated himself inside your mind, committed to be with you and stay with you through your life, okay? That thought adjuster that is inside of you, that tendril, that fragment of God right now is connected in paradise. When Jesus said, our Father who art in heaven, we said, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. He was saying this fact right here. That means now, just like now in paradise. This is what we're connected to. This is what's been hidden from us, okay? We are connected to God, great source and center right now. So now we think like this, okay? Each one of us is this point of light. We are each one this being with spirit luminosity and this personality that has power in and of itself. And there's other powers that we have, okay? That's us in our individual states. Now, when we come together, like Jesus taught us in this human fraternity of the divine spirit. He wanted us to come together based upon this truth that he is the Son of the living God. When we come together, we become more like a laser, because we've all come together and we are creating an amplification of the spiritual powers, these personality powers that we have. And when we come together, that's the human fraternity of the divine spirit. And we have power in that group to affect things for our world. And we're going to talk more about that. Do you want to say anything, Alfred? Let me keep going.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, all right. So what we are doing in God Discovered, what we need to do, and we invite you all to join us, we need to come together like this group, this group of amplified power, like a laser. We need to come together, and here's our job. We can't run around destroying, certain forces of evil that are out there. Okay, we're third, fourth density, low level beings. Okay, but what Jesus wanted us to do was to come together and use our free will to make some really big asks, some really big questions that we're going to ask for these way higher beings who are here that we cannot see. And they have been traveling to get to us to come and help. But they're waiting for us to use our free will choice to ask for their help. And then this key to the kingdom, Jesus is going to, what does a key do? It unlocks something. Okay, it's a key, allows for energy to flow through like a circuit. When you unlock, we use a key to unlock the circuit, energy can flow through, right? Okay, so this is the part we haven't been doing. And so it's really important that we understand what our free will choice is, really recognizing what we're doing. Okay, we can't just talk about this like it's just a concept or a theory, okay? Because that's not actually having faith. That's just floating around some words, okay, for an idea. No, we have to actually understand what we're doing. We have to recognize what Jesus said. We have to understand what our faith, what our true childlike faith, understanding who we are in this whole situation can do. Now, there's even more. I'm going to read you this passage now. Okay, it's 178:16. Okay, and Jesus is saying, okay, you're not allowed to worship your temporal rulers. Okay, don't employ temporal power in the furtherance of the spiritual kingdom. Don't do that. But you should manifest the righteous ministry of loving service to believers and unbelievers alike. We're supposed to love everybody. In the gospel of the kingdom, listen to this, it's really important, okay? In the gospel of the kingdom, there resides the mighty spirit of truth. That's the spirit that Jesus poured out upon all flesh on the day of Pentecost. This is his spirit, okay? This is called, it's him. This is the mighty spirit of truth. And presently, I will pour out the same spirit upon all flesh, and the fruits of the spirit, your sincere and loving service, listen, are the mighty social lever to uplift the races of darkness, and the spirit of truth will become your power multiplying fulcrum. What is a power multiplying fulcrum? Think of it like this. It's like remember in the old Roman days, a catapult. The humans would have to, build the catapult, okay? And they have to put the big, heavy, whatever rock, round thing, whatever in that holder, okay? They get it in place, lock it back, and then they hit that switch, whatever you want to call it, and then that catapult whips it around and throws that rock way farther than any human could have done it, right? That's a fulcrum. That's what the spirit of truth within us, who is Jesus in his glorified spiritual state, that's what he can do. But he's waiting for us to come together as this human fraternity of the divine spirit, agree with him that that's what he is, agree with him that that's what the spirit of truth is. We are loading up the catapult with our request. We're going to hold up the keys to the kingdom. We're going to make the big ask. We're going to hit that switch, and the spirit of truth is going to do the real business for the planet. And he is joined with all of these much higher spirit beings that are here to do their jobs, but they're not going to do it until we do our job on our planet. We're tuned up to do this here. And I got to tell you, I mean, any of you rebels out there that are listening, okay, you know what? All this stuff's been hidden from us. You guys thinking we can't see, you know, what's going on. And well, here's the deal. I'm going to call you friends. You can't see what's looking at you. You guys need to really think about what you're doing, because these are your spiritual careers that are at stake. You can still back away from what you're doing. Doesn't matter if you're a human being on this planet or if you're an off-worlder who's come here. I'm talking to all you guys, okay? Jesus is talking to all you guys. He loves all of you. Please, 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 please change your minds right now. Step away from the rebellion, the Luciferian stuff, and get on board now with what Jesus is doing, okay? Because when we come together as the lasers, okay, we come together understanding what we're doing. We're going to make the big ask. And what we're asking for is for all of these spiritual beings to put pressure down upon this rebellion. They can do it. So please change your minds. All right. Now, you want to say anything, Alfred? You want me to keep going?
I'm just following you because, to be frank, it's hard for me to follow you and follow what's on the page. I can't seem to follow what's on the page that you're reading, you know. So
I changed it.
I'm just following.
I added to it from last week. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I feel better because I spent all this time to find the thing and I couldn't find it. So
that was my fault. It's my fault.
So just go for what you're saying, okay? Now,
yeah, you know, my husband already told you earlier that I can talk too much, so.
Okay, right. But what I would appreciate, see, because I think that let's say that what people can do practically is they can go to God Discovered, or they can go to JesusMeetUp.net and they can download the Urantia book, okay, in PDF or an audio book. So at some point, say, download the Urantia book and go to this paper and read it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Leave a practice because you're really kind of driving very fast through a lot of different fields, and maybe people might be missing some of the landscape. So if
you know what, and it's totally stop me if I need to go back, if I'm going too fast.
Well, no,
give it back, please.
I think that now we've got about maybe 20 minutes left. And so now what might be good is to double back and go right past the wheat fields that we just went through and say, okay, go to goddiscover.net and or JesusMeetUp.net.
Week 31.
Yeah.
Week 31.
download a copy of the Urantia book, okay?
Yes, for
Yeah.
free.
Yeah, it's free. It's free. And download this and see, because we have to give people the car, and then go to paper X. So I'm going to turn it over to you. This is a suggestion. Would you like to do that?
Okay, I had just a little bit more I wanted to say about just a little something. I'll finish up and then we can do that. Is that okay?
Go.
Okay. Okay. Just a couple of things, guys. Just a couple of things. Let me say this. Back to the catapult, okay, and the spirit of truth. We have to start this together. We've already been doing it and God discovered, but you guys need to come together with us, and we need to begin this process, okay, with the spirit of truth. Now, let me say a side note. Okay, I have to say it. Anything teaching a consciousness power without the foundation being our paradise Father or Jesus, guys, it's not much power. It's really not that much power. We don't have that multiplying fulcrum of the spirit of truth. Plus the fact, if you just are basing, if you're running around saying I'm God or I'm consciousness, we're all going to come together just on consciousness, it's not going to get this job done. It's not enough. We need the spiritual realm to enter in with us. Okay, now we got power. Now we got pressure coming down from above on the forces of darkness and these hosts of sin. Okay, now we can take care of it. All right. So I want to tell a quick story. There's a story that Jesus, it was a big deal. He had gone on a trip. He comes back, and all of a sudden, 3 of his apostles kind of rush up to him, and then this father rushes up to him, and this little sick boy, and everybody's talking at the same time. And Jesus is like, wait a minute, what is going on here? What was just happening? All right. So the deal is, the day before, the apostle, this father brings this very sick son who's actually demon possessed. Now, side note, since the day of Pentecost, Jesus said himself, no more can any unclean spirits molest the minds of men. That can't go on, and it hasn't been able to go on since the day of Pentecost. All right, y'all gonna all send me your letters, that's fine, but that's what Jesus said, okay? So everybody's safe, but until the day of Pentecost, it could happen. So this little boy, very, very sick, he was possessed by a demon, and the father had brought the son to the apostles the day before saying, please help me. I know that your master can heal him. And they said, well, we'll heal him. He's not here, master's not here right now, we'll do it. But they were full of their own pride. They were full of their own self-aggrandizement, okay? And so they were like, gonna call out this demon from the boy like Jesus did, Well, it didn't work. Why? Because they were prideful. They didn't do it in the right posture. They didn't do it in the right spiritual attitude. They failed miserably. So this is the next day. Jesus comes up, and here's the father begging him, saying, please, 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 my son is so sick. Please heal him. It's just, our lives are destroyed. He has seizures. He falls in the water. He has seizures. He falls in the fire. I mean, look at him, So Jesus, this is really big. So Jesus stops, and he turns and he looks at the 3 apostles, and it says he gives them a searching survey. Can you imagine getting that from Jesus? See, Jesus understood exactly what they had done. And he goes into this thing and he says, how long do I have to be here with you? This perverse, unbelieving generation, when are you going to realize that you cannot have doubting unbelief and think that you're going to get anything like this accomplished? And of course, what he didn't say, but what you read into the situation is, apostles, you actually hurt this man and this boy even worse, because you claim to do something, or you're going to try to do, and then you fail. You made it even worse for him. So anyway, Jesus turns his attention to the father and to the boy, and he says, yes, I will do this for you, because my father, your father loves you, loves your son. he heals the boy and he says to the father, this has happened because of your belief and your faith. And then this wonderful man, his name was James of Sophet. He says this long to be remembered, these words where he says, Lord, I believe, help me with my unbelief. That may be where a lot of you are right now. That is okay. As you can see, Jesus healed the boy. He really, truly had a spiritual problem. He really, truly had a physical malady. And with just that little bit of faith that James of Sophet had, Jesus said, yeah, he's healed. And the boy was healed from that point on. Those things never came back. That's what we're talking about. Okay? Now, God Discovered is a global community. We are the human fraternity of the divine spirit. But we're not just getting together for socialization. We are getting together to take spiritual action for our world and for our lives. Can't go into all the unbelievable stories I could tell you about what's happened in our lives. But friends, you need to do this because it is all there for you. There is nothing special about us. You are just like us. God wants to do all these things for your life as well. But you have to pursue him. You have to decide of your own free will that you want to do it. Okay. So in God Discovered as well, we are all pursuing the attainment of our indwelling thought adjusters. You can make contact with God inside. There's a whole way to do it. It's a way that's worked for us. Okay, we're not like militantly telling you you have to do it this way. We're just telling you what's worked for us. It's in there in the Find God, Attain Him section. You'll see it. Okay, but here's the deal. When you do this, they use this phrase, transcendent faith. They use that word transcendent a lot. Here's what the word transcendent means. It means exceeding usual limits, surpassing, extending beyond the limits of ordinary experience, transcending the universe or material existence. Friends, they're talking about, Jesus is talking about you becoming more than you are today. God does it within you. Jesus does it within you. Now, there's like some women kind of issues I could talk about here in my own personal life, some real pains and woundedness, okay? I'm telling you, when I took that to the Father within me, and I said, you know, I really need this. I really need this to be healed. Friends, I'm telling you, he does it. He does it like fast. All of a sudden, there's this new spiritual insight. There's this new understanding of what that really was and how you really don't need to be so upset and worried about that. It doesn't need to hurt you like that. Just understand it's an avatar. That was your avatar. Okay? That's just an example. I'm telling you, there's healing all over the place for you guys if you'll just reach for it. Go for it with transcendent faith. Okay, so the Jesus Meetup is a different section of God Discovered. Okay, that is Alvin, do you want to say something? Let me keep going.
Yeah, please. I mean,
keep going. Okay, all right. So the Jesus Meetup is a whole different section in God Discovered. This is a 52-week program where all the topics in there are really fun, really cool. We are socializing the teachings and the true religion of Jesus. That simply means we're handing you the curriculum. You don't even have to write it. We're handing you the PDFs. You just print them out. You just get your friends together. All you guys just go, okay, we're just going to get together and talk about what Jesus said. We're just going to do this. And then you kind of go through the lesson, and then there's a few questions at the end, which is really the best part, because that's when you all start talking to each other about what you think. And then, you have some prayer requests. You say the Lord's Prayer at the end, all right? And so, and then throughout the year, you do stuff like you would see in a church or a synagogue, or, there's like a little daddy dinner dance, at a certain point of the year. There's wedding ceremonies, funeral ceremonies. There's renewal of the wedding vows. There's baptisms. There's baby dedications. We're socializing this whole thing because you're going to make friends. You're going to bring your friends together. They're going to bring their friends together. You may have a group of 20, 30 people, and you're celebrating all of your life events together. You become a family. Okay. And we're going to do 5 years of this. God help us. But we will. We're going to do 5 years of this. And you guys don't even know how this is going to bless your lives. You just have no idea. But you have to step out and do it. See, you can't sit around waiting for somebody else to come and, bring in the cavalry and take care of everything. You kind of got to do it. You got to have some courage and some faith. And yeah, your friends may go, Jesus, talk about Jesus, what? No, come on over. I mean, the hors d'oeuvres will be really good. Just whatever. And just start partying together and talking about Jesus. And see, what Jesus said is, when you lift me up, I draw all people to myself. Creator sons have this ability. They have a spiritual gravity drawing power. He said, all you got to do is lift me up. If you do that, I'll draw everybody to me. And that's the way it works. And it's like super, super fun. And so all in there, we're going to talk about the soul. We're going to talk about life after death. We're going to talk about, how to pursue God, how to find God, how to really spiritually grow, all these things. But a really important thing, I think one of the first ones I think you guys ought to go look at is the one on the soul. Because there's a lot of talk right now about souls being stolen, okay? And let me just tell you right now, if you love God and you have committed your heart to him and you're saying, God, I want to do what you want me to do, your soul cannot be taken from you, period. End of story. It cannot happen. And here's what I'm going to tell you your soul really is. All right. So Jesus said, paper 102.7, he said, Jesus portrayed the profound surety of the God-knowing mortal when he said to a God-knowing kingdom believer, what does it matter if all things even crash? Temporal securities are vulnerable. Oh, don't we all know that? But spiritual sureties are impregnable. When the flood tides of human adversity, selfishness, cruelty, hate, malice, and jealousy beat about the mortal soul, you may rest in the assurance that there is one inner bastion, the citadel of the spirit, which is absolutely unassailable. At least this is true for every human being who has dedicated the keeping of his soul to the indwelling spirit of the eternal God. Your soul cannot be taken. You are good. Now we may die. Okay, that part we're not really excited about, right? That other part, but you're going to be okay. We're all going to be just fine. Okay? You're smiling, Alfred.
Yeah. I was, I'm fitting in. I'm sure that everybody watching this, their minds are going off in all sorts of relevant directions with your words, right?
Yeah, well, because this is spiritual. We're in the spiritual territory now, and it doesn't matter how far away you are. You may be in China. I don't know. Alfred, you're way up there. I'm way down here in the States. It doesn't matter because there's no distance between us in the spiritual realm. And when we start talking about these kind of things, oh, don't you know, all your seraphim are like getting all jumpy and hopping up and down and going, oh my gosh, they're finally talking about the good stuff. They're all excited. All of our celestial family, all of our friends, you can't see them. They're all excited that we're talking about this. And this is just the beginning. Let's go.
Right. So where should people go this week in the Your Answer book? which?
Oh, guys, you know what? Well, okay, so let me just say something about that. If I were you guys, I would go to the table of contents and I would look at the titles of all the papers, and the ones that you're really interested in, they're going to jump out at you. Just go with that. The first ones I wanted to understand about the angels, because I had a very lonely life when I was young. I wanted to learn about them. That paper made me cry. And then I really wanted to understand the rebellion because, crying in a good way. Yeah, my husband's here. And then I really wanted to know about the rebellion because that just stinks. The rebellion is just terrible. I wanted to understand what is going on this planet. And those papers of the rebellion, you'll connect the dots when you read that. Okay. But if you just don't know what to do, just start with part 4, because if you get Jesus, you got everything pretty much. But I think you'll know. And I think, God leads you, and your seraphim are going to lead you. So don't worry about it. You'll know.
Very good.
I'm trying to be quiet. It's very hard for me. What do you want to do?
Yeah. So where do you want to go next week? We sort of come to the end of this week.
All right. So we've got the introduction done. I would say next week, here's the thing. Jesus said really clearly that before you kind of do anything with your friends, the first thing you have to help them understand is that God loves them. So that's week 2. The second thing they really need to understand is that God is their father and they are his child. And then once they understand that they're loved and that they are their paradise father's child, then you can start talking about that he dwells inside their minds. And if he lives in there, then he is waiting for them to want him. Once you have that down, then you can take them into the temple and start talking about all the little yummy goodies of what happens in there in the temple, which, you guys are the temple of God, okay? He's inside your avatar. Then you can start talking about all the goodies that kind of happen, but it needs to go in that order. So I think we should do week 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the next month.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good start.
Yeah. That sounds very, very good.
Now, nobody can hear this, but I think we should all just be clapping and thanking Alfred for doing this, because if it weren't for Alfred inviting us to share his world and all of you, his friends, then we couldn't be here. So Alfred, thank you for being you.
Oh, well, listen, this is, I'm just part of the meetup, and I'm very glad to be here.
Well, you're dear, and so many people love you out there. Everybody listening, you all know. Put it in the comments. Appreciate Alfred. So I think we got a game plan for next week. Yeah.
Great. That sounds very, very good. And so could you give out the God Discovered website again?
Yeah, it's goddiscovered.net. We're not .com because we are not commercial. We don't sell anything ever. We will never, ever ask anybody for money. So we're goddiscovered.net. If you want to really reach out to us, then go to that contact page where you will find the book and all the audios. At the very beginning of that, top of that, there's a contact page. Shoot us an email, and then we'll kind of take it from there. We'll find out a little bit about you, what you want to do, what your interests are. And then we can move forward from there. The Jesus meetups, go take a look at that. That's huge. That's a mountain of stuff. But go look at it and you'll see. Now we're still writing it. So please be patient, bear with us. I have a neck injury, so it's really hard to spend this much time on the computer. But that's all right. You guys pray for me, and I appreciate that. But And then don't forget to go check out that Find God to Attain Him, because those are 6 easy steps. Well, there's 6 easy steps, but get ready because the effort involved is massive. Okay, but we're going to talk more about that because you're going to be in the same boat with all the rest of us. We're all trying hard at this. The reason it's hard is because we are 99.99% material and God is 100% spiritual. So getting through the material into the spiritual realm is a lot of work. Okay, but it's worth it once that little portal up there inside your mind and your brain, once that little portal opens up and Jesus is helping you in there, Spirit of Truth is helping you in there, and the Father is helping you, and so is Mother Spirit, who is mind. See, she's mind. They're all helping you to get up there and make connection with Him. So yeah, don't neglect that. That should be the first thing you go and do, is try to get him. Just go get your dad. Just go get him.
Well, thank you very much. And sure, everybody, to tune in next week. We have a new program every Tuesday. And
we're going to talk about how much God loves you all next week. Don't miss it.
Exactly. And that'll be on Tuesday, June 7th.
Yes, sir.
That'll be great.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming and listening. And we love you. Even if you disagree with us, we love you anyway. Hope you love us too. It's all good. Let's get this world in a better shape. Eh?
Thank you.
All right. See you soon.